Welcome back to Where Baggies Walk. Is the tide turning? We're seeing a lot more people questioning Carlos. The question on this channel is, are these four about to say Carlos out? Action Pat, we're asking the question, is the tide turning? We're also going to preview the Sheffield United game this weekend, talk about January transfer window priorities, and who is our November player of the month for the Baggies. Welcome back, Dan, Aaron, Ben, and Dean. Dan, we joked a couple of months ago about it's getting boring, this positive chat. Well, the tide has definitely turned in this studio. Let's get into it. I have seen so many people following that result at Preston saying, I've had enough of this now. Dan, have you?
No, not at all. You can't. Well, you can't really say Carlos out at the minute because, again, he took us from the bottom of the league to a good top half table finish with that squad that we had. And I think what it is that I think the players are just too scared to lose just to probably get that backlash from it. So I think the players are just happy with draws. I mean, even though it's been, 10 games, 1 win, 9 draws, it's getting a bit boring now, this whole draw in malarkey. The results need to start coming in soon. Otherwise, more fans will turn on Carlos.
Yeah, when we spoke to our Sunderland fans this week, they were amazed, Dan, at how West Brom rocked up to the Stadium of Light in the midweek. They thought you were going to be expansive and have a go. They were very surprised that your game plan was just to sit back and go for the 0-0. It sounds a bit un-West Brom-like, but I suppose that's what we've come to accustomed to now, isn't it? Away games, that's how you're going to set up?
Yeah, but I mean, in any other circumstance, a draw at Sunderland at this moment in time is a great result. But I'm sure Dean will remember, we was crying out for a Lloyd Dyer run up the wing and then a square pass to Kumas and then limbs basically. We were just waiting for something like that to happen. Just maybe catch them on the counter attack and stick one in, but it just weren't going to happen.
Okay, Aaron, let's have a look at some comments from fans, shall we? First of all, WBA Rainbow Stand says the tide is turning. David says, make the change, Shillen. Unfortunately, it's not going anywhere with CC. And this young lad at the bottom says, Carlos, you are an effing moron. Care to explain yourself?
I mean, I went to the game, so that was a very fire in the belly sort of moment. That was. I mean, it was just flabbergasting to watch a complete different side after half time. I was just, I don't know how to word it, but it was just like you can't actually explain what you saw. It was like one half we're 1970 Brazil, the second half we're 2024 West Brom. It's just been terrible. So I just don't understand what happened at half time to say, oh, you know what, you 1-0 away at Preston, let's sit back and not do anything again, because we were all over them. I think they had probably a shot on target, maybe at the very best in that first half, and second half they just came out. I mean, obviously you expect a bit of pressure from a team losing at half time, especially at home, but to come out like that and nothing to be the same. I think he went to a 5 at the back, literally within about 5 minutes of the second half interval as well, and I was like, oh, this is not going to go well. And he just stuck at it the whole 45 minutes for that second half, just stuck at 5 at the back, and he was just like, why? you ask him the question, and there's no answers really. It's very baffling at the moment.
Is it fair to say that was a bit alcohol infueled then, that tweet? Dean, Josh says, it's the first game I've watched that after has me feeling negative about this team. It always seems it's hard to beat us, but draws after week are getting boring now. Feels players are actually trying there, just not good enough. Other one says the reason we started the second half poorly was because you changed the formation and shoved fellows to the left wing back. Do you agree with what Aaron was saying there and what JDWA is saying there? Dean?
Well, think I'm still not in the Carlos out camp, but his tactics are costing us a lot of points at the moment. And like you said, I was up at Sunderland on Tuesday. We stayed overnight and we're talking to the Sunderland fans after the game, and they couldn't believe it. They were fearing us, and they just couldn't believe we came and set up like that. And we did up there what Millwall and Cardiff did at the Albion ground.
Yeah.
Come per point, 0-0, and got it. But it's horrible at the moment.
They can't argue with that. Some of the fans we spoke to were beyond shocked. All right, Ben. Sorry, that's the wrong one. But the GOAT says this is beyond pathetic now. 1 win, 9 draws, and 10 is mediocre. Dare I say I'm losing the faith in Carlos. I've asked everybody else, so let's ask you for the full house. Are you losing faith in Carlos?
No, not quite yet. I think, like I said, the draws we've had away from home in isolation have been decent draws. And if we'd picked up some more points at home, we'd be in a better position. In terms of what's changed, I think since we let in 3 goals at Sheffield Wednesday back in October, Carlos has it annoyed him, I think. And since then, he's sort of gone really, really defensive. Unless we're 2-0 up at half time, we're not going to. The second half performances have been really poor. I can't remember the last time we scored a sort of late winner or a late equaliser. You look at the scores on a Saturday, you see teams scoring winners in like the 85th, 90th minute. I generally can't remember the last time we scored a late winner. We tend to do all our work in the first half, and then the foot comes off the gas in the second half. And I'm not really sure why, because the players are there, but we're just not executing an attacking game plan, especially in the second half.
I think he's doing that because, the goals you conceded against Norwich were bad goals. You still scored 2 and still got a point out of the game. Do you think he's looking at those and going, right, stupid goals conceding, let's go ultra defensive again? Is he overreacting to things?
Potentially, yeah. I think we're hard to beat, but easy to play against.
Yeah. Okay. The alternative view of it was about the squad itself. That it's just not good enough. Mike says our squad is just not good enough. We are so short on creativity. Wallace, Swift, Dobbin, for starters, are contributing very little, either as starting or from the bench. Johnson has not created last season's form. Rashish is inconsistent. We are where we are as the squad is lacking. Is that a fairer summary of kind of where you're at? But you did overachieve in the first bit of the season, Dan, and actually you are just an upper mid-table side.
Well, if you look at the teams that we beat at the start of the season, they're the games like QPR and Portsmouth, they're lower down the table. So maybe it was just us finding the weaker team, playing the weaker teams first, and we getting the results out of it quite easy. But then once we've come up tougher opposition, we've just really struggled. And the likes of Dobbin, I haven't been a fan from him from the off, and he's proving my point at the minute. He just hasn't done enough.
Aaron, do you agree?
Yeah, there are a lot of players in that squad coming off the bench a lot of the time as well, which they just aren't good enough anymore. Wallace and Swift are 32, 33, so they're past the peak for starters. But there's that quality they used to have coming off the bench or starting. They don't have that anymore. And there were Bruce signings, so you can't really blame Carlos for having them or bringing them in or anything like that, because that wasn't the case. But I just don't see why we don't get rid of players like that. It seems like we just want to keep mediocre players. Like we had that problem previously before the start of this year, where we had players that had been here for 6, 7, 8 years. Which, granted, it's nice to see some loyalty in football, but when players like that are just constantly getting games and performing or doing very little in games, you ask the question why. And I granted with this squad that Carlos has got to select from, it's not very easy to pick some of the best players, because none of them are really performing, and you can't really say there's a best player in that team. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think there's a lot of attacking players which are underperforming massively. I think between about 7 of them, they've got 1 goal contribution, and then you've got Maja, who's got about 50% of the goals we've scored this season have come through him. So it's like all the eggs in one basket, and we haven't got players coming off the bench which are going to provide competition for for anyone really across all the pitch, if I'm honest.
Cheers for that. If you haven't yet done so, please do drop us a like on the video. We're looking for 25 likes this week, and press that subscribe button as we ask you to do every single week. Dean, it's Chris Wilder coming to the Hawthorns this weekend on Sunday with Sheffield United. Let's have a look at the side that started. And Dean, tell us how you would beat a Chris Wilder side. What would you change? What would you change here?
Oh dear, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, Rakic hasn't done anything for me. Certainly, Dobbin wouldn't. He doesn't want to starting lineup. Don't know what Malumbi's done wrong. He always gives 100%, and Styles was doing really well, and all of a sudden dropped. So I'd certainly bring Styles back in, maybe in midfield, and I'd certainly bring Malumbi back in, but. There's still not a leader out there, and I don't know where the creativity is coming from, to be honest.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I agree with what Dean said. I think Malumbi has to play. I think his energy is his box to box. He just gives us a bit more in the middle. I'm not sure what Rakic is offered at the minute. And again, Dobbin, the 10-11 appearances he's made, he's not done anything in an Albion shirt so far. I'm not sure how far away Dean Garner is from being fit, but nice to see him out there, just as a bit of a extra change. But again, there's not too much you can change really with the options we've got on the bench. Styles again, I think Styles, it's harsh to drop him. Maybe he could play left midfield just to tighten up a bit, because Sheffield United are a decent team.
Yeah, they're decent. Dan, does Fellows need to do more for you in games?
Yeah, I think ever since the Millwall game, where their left back had him in his back pocket, it's just really knocked his confidence. His confidence on the floor at the minute. He just needs a few good performances just to string together. Just bring that confidence back up. But maybe he can go back to the form that he had at the start of the season. I'll always be a fan of a local boy playing for his boyhood club, and actually performing. And it was great to see at the start of the season, but now he just looks non-existent on that right wing. And then when Carlos is putting him back at wing back, you can just see he's all 6s and 7s at the back. He's got no idea what to do.
Okay, all right. Well, it should be a good game to watch. I think it's on Sunday live on Sky, so we'll be tuned. You smiling?
It's got draw written on it.
It has.
Sky haven't quite figured this out yet, have they?
Can't be a draw. Can't be a draw. Oh, having said that, I did put some money on 1-1 at the weekend, so thank you very much for that. Last week we asked you for your FA Cup third round draw hopes. None of you said Bournemouth away. Aaron, are you happy with that?
It's debatable. I mean, it's a good opportunity for the squad if they're fit. I mean, a lot of the players that we've got injured at the moment should be kicking and playing by then, if I'm honest. But it'll be a good opportunity for a lot of them to showcase themselves and see how good we are against the team who are doing fairly well in Premier League. I mean, you can't say they're doing poorly at all, Bournemouth. I mean, they've been up for quite a few many years now. I mean, it's where we see ourselves and where we want to be. I mean, a mid-table Premier League side would happily being a mid-table Championship side, if I'm quite honest. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they won't play a full strength team. I mean, I don't think they'll need to, if I'm quite honest, either. But if we put any less than full strength in, then we're silly. I mean, we did it last year against Wolves. I mean, we changed the keeper out for our second string keeper, and that played pivotal in my opinion. But I mean, I'd like for us to go full strength. I'd like for us to take a few fans up there and show them what proper fans are like, because I know Bournemouth, they're a bit tin pot in my opinion as well. But also just to show what we can do and how good we can actually show ourselves up against a Premier League side.
Okay. You won't get many fans there, given that ground's only like 10,000. Yeah. Or something. Dean, is this one that you've done? The Vitality?
Twice in the FA Cup before as well. Yeah, loads of times, yeah. a decent night out. So that's about it, really. It'll be our reserves against their reserves, I think. Nothing really to get excited about. I wanted someone like Bromley or Harrogate.
Okay. Right, I've just got visions of you now partying to the midnight hours on Bournemouth Beach now, Dean. Right, let's crack on. The January transfer window is around the corner, and all the kids, Ben, are writing the Christmas list. So let's write the West Brom Christmas list, shall we? What's top of the list in terms of a priority for January?
I think we need like a number 10 type player, someone who can sort of play through the thirds and sort of make stuff happen out of nothing. We haven't really got anyone who can win us a game by themselves. Just we need that creativity and that support for Madger and behind, and like a Pereira type player, someone like that, just to bit of excitement.
Okay, Dan, do you agree?
Yeah.
I want to add something.
Yeah, definitely. Like we've been crying out for like a proper number 10 for ages, to be honest. Like Ben said, someone can just sort of like win the game by themselves. Just get the fans on their feet. Just give them something to be excited about when that player gets on the ball.
Agreed, Aaron?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think a centre half replacement would also be a second priority, in my opinion. But a number 10, like both Ben and Dan have said, then we need a player who can take the game to the opposition and actually show some quality and try and do something out of nothing and make things happen. It's exactly what we've needed ever since Pereira's left. I mean, we haven't had a player like that for so long. I mean, Swift is Swift. He plays decently well for 5 games, and then in front of 15, you never heard of him. And then it's the same and repeated. But we can't have players like that who are just hit and miss. We need someone who's going to start every week, whether it's on loan or actual permanent signing. Someone's going to start every week, come in and actually change the team for the better.
Okay. Dean, I presume you're not going to disagree with your colleagues?
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Somebody who can open things up a little bit and create something. I think we're also lacking a leader out there. I really do. Even if we have to sign some, I like signing youngsters, but sometimes you need somebody out there who can, get everybody to roll the sleeves up and say, "Come on, we can still win this." We don't seem to have that. We don't have a leader, I don't think.
Okay. All right, good shouts. Finally, November Player of the Month we need before we can close off this month once and for all. Let's get your shouts on this one. Dan, kick us off.
For me, I think it's got to be Karlan Grant. It's just been phenomenal throughout this season so far. He's the one who actually looks like he's interested in the game, creates chances on his own, got a couple of goals as well. Honestly, when he came back at the start of the season, I was thinking, oh God, why we've got him? Why is he playing? But he's proved all his doubters wrong, including myself. But yeah, Karlan Grant for me, he's been class.
The redemption arc is full swing. Then we can forgive him. Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Aaron.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I don't think there's many players who come close. I mean, Hegam's a very good player, but he's not really done anything outstanding this month, in my opinion. I mean, he's obviously done very well and he hasn't performed bad, but Karlan Grant's just been head and shoulders above anyone else in the squad. He's got a few goals. The goal he took at Preston, unreal. A nice little dink over the keeper. That was absolutely lovely to watch in person. But yeah, I mean, he runs his socks off from down the pitch. That's one thing I think when Grant last played for us before moving to Cardiff on loan, a lot of his criticism came from his lack of work rate, and I think it's done a 4-1-8, where he is a new player in terms of work rate and quality, because he's up and down the pitch more often than not, and it's brilliant to watch. And I think he fully deserves the Player of the Month for this season. For this month, sorry.
Great shouts, Dean.
Yes, same here. I was going to say Grant. Bit of a shout out to Callum Starr as well. I think he's come in and done very well. But yeah, Grant.
Ben.
Yeah, full house. Yeah, I mean, at Sunderland, he was the only one looking to make things happen. At home to Norwich, he was our best player. He's the only one who's sort of willing to get the ball and run, and a couple of goals. He's the only one who's really offering any kind of output at the minute. I think a few of the players need to go on loan to Cardiff as well.
That's always doing.
Who'd have thought that we'd be sat here in November, eh? 10 draws or 9 draws, and Karlan Grant is West Brom's Player of the Month. You would never have predicted it, Dan,
Not a
would you?
chance. Not a chance.
No, not a chance.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us then. Enjoy the Sheffield United game. Some big games coming up for the Baggies, aren't there, in the next couple of weeks? So looking forward to all of that. Join us next week, of course.
Big draws coming up, isn't there?
Can't be.